Beautiful people of YouTube, how the fuck are you today? As soon as I laid my eyes on the 75mm f1.2, I knew I had to have it. The moment I heard about the pre-order, I just added it to my cart without even thinking twice about it. At first I felt a little bit of guilt about this impulse buy. I thought I only purchased it to make this video right here, but as soon as I began to use it, my opinion changed. The expectations not only were they reached, but they were exceeded as well. When paired with my Fujifilm X-T4s, it produces almost impeccable images. The autofocus hit rate is pretty good. You don't really get those autofocus or soft images at f1.2, but that's only when the autofocus locks in the subject. Otherwise, it can be a little bit lazy, let's say. As soon as I opened the box, I had the impression that this was different from any other Viltrox lenses that I've tried in the past. The build quality is outstanding, giving it a very professional and premium look and feel. It comes in at 670 grams, which makes it a little heavier than its predecessor, the 85mm f1.8, which comes in at 540 grams. And you can feel that it's heavier, but it doesn't unbalance the camera in any way. At least not on my X-T4. But should you feel that the camera is unbalanced, you can always use a camera cage or a battery grip. While I don't normally use manual focus, the focusing ring is very smooth and it feels good when you try to focus. It's buttery smooth. But what really stood out to me from the point of view of the aesthetics and functionality is the aperture ring. Amazing, because once you go aperture ring, as I always say, you never go back. Although it doesn't feel as satisfying as a Fujifilm aperture ring, it's quite a very welcomed addition to this new series of lenses. Talking about aperture, this goes up to 1.2, which means that lets a lot of light hit your sensor, which means you can shoot in really dark environments and not worrying too much about the ISO. You don't have to raise your ISO that much and you won't have grain in your photos this way. So who's this lens for? It's mostly for portrait photographers, event photographers, or even street photographers. If you don't feel like getting too close to people, this can be a really nice choice to stay a little bit away, but not too much, so that you feel more comfortable with your subjects and your subjects feel more comfortable. But I mainly shoot portraits with this. And the quality of the images is insane. At f1.2, I shoot a portrait and I can see that is really crisp in the eye. And the face and the skin, everything looks good. You don't see that very often on many lenses. I could count the elements and the groups that the elements are grouped in and tell you all about it, but I honestly think that nobody really cares. So I think what you're most interested about is whether this takes good or bad photos, and let me tell you, this takes amazing photos. Previously, when I took portraits of strangers on the street for my project, I would take around 10 to 15 photos each person. Now I can even take like 2 or 3 and then I would be happy. Another thing to note is the fact that the Viltrox 75mm now has weather sealing, which is a feature that's mostly available to lenses that are considered at least prosumer, if not professional. And this is the very first time that Viltrox adds this to their lenses. Is this lens for you? I don't know, that depends a little bit. Depends on your needs, depends on what you do in life. Are you a professional photographer and you shoot a lot of events and fashion, weddings, portraits, all that kind of stuff, and you can say that you will use this lens to shoot sometime, maybe not now, but maybe in a month or 2 or 6 months, will bring back some money, will give you some money, then yes, I definitely say go buy it. I would say it's even better than the 90mm Fujinon, although the image quality on that, it's not that it's better, it's just it renders colors differently. But with a couple of clicks, the 75mm looks exactly the same. I would say if you got the money, buy it. If you don't have the money, don't take a loan or something to buy this lens. the 85mm is still a very valid choice, and if you can find a used but in very good condition 90mm from Fujifilm, that's also a very valid choice, although I think the prices are like similar to the Viltrox 75mm, so I would say you're better off with the 75mm. If you already own 90mm, I would say don't bother making the switch unless you really need that extra steps of light. If you have the 85mm Viltrox and you're not happy anymore with it, well, you can upgrade, but only if it makes sense from a financial point of view, or if you have a shit ton of money. So this lens so far seems pretty fucking perfect, right? But there is no perfect lens, so it has its flaws, and its only flaw, I think, it's autofocus, which, as I said in the beginning, if you remember, when it locks in, it's good, but until it locks in, let's just say it's pretty lazy. It doesn't really ghost, so it doesn't go back and forth, but it's slow to focus on stuff, and sometimes I kind of missed some shots when I shot street photography, but Viltrox has released an update of the firmware and it should take care of that. I haven't yet upgraded to the new firmware because I wanted to take more photos to see the difference, the real difference. I will do it and I'll make a quick video about it too. Anyway peeps, that's been it from me this time. If you want to check out image quality, there's a gallery in the description of the video on my website. You can check out that. You can see images that I've taken with this lens since I have it, and let me know what you think. Feel free to pixel peep, reach out on Instagram, reach out socials, and you will see me in the next video. Bye.